Yo, Sigma here. So today's opponents are just insane. The first wave doesn't really give me too much trouble, and I expect most people won't get much trouble from the first wave unless they have a really slow startup for their EX skill cycle. Meanwhile, the second and third waves are absolutely monstrous, absolute whales. Here in this first match, I start off as Hinotori because it is generally a good strategy to use your range fighter to lay down a lot of fire. Covering fire is a very important strategy, in my opinion, especially when dealing with whales like this. The second wave in these two runs, I don't manage to get any decent footage in these two of them spamming their EX skills, but you can see that they buff up a little bit before they get ready to fire him. Meanwhile, this final team has a pair of defenders that continue to sit around, block, and spam Axis drop every chance they get. Although I don't think they're as egregious a spam problem as the second wave. I do swap out my EX skills in the second match because of the piercing quality of Evil Punisher versus the other ones. I also use that to... I'm not really sure if that'll have an effect on the AoE. I think that the AoE center doesn't change. I just push it away so that I can keep myself alive. And it's just chance that the other two survive. To be frank, one of the things that ends up killing this defender is the slow attack speed that it has with its basic attacks. Which is the trade-off of using that stupid Nerf sword. Excuse me, I hate that sword. Just hate it. Anyway, so in this second match, even though that score was decent, I do manage to top it. So I spent some time rearranging my team to optimize swapping between my melee suit and my range fighters, because I needed to conserve most of my magazine for the final rounds, because it was really important to take out those spammers before they could get going. It's an incredible gauntlet of whales, so be ready for having to try over and over to beat the same opponents. So again, like I said, I switched to Hinotori relatively quickly because even though this thing heals up past before I could kill it quickly enough, still managed to kill it before it really starts up its strategy. While these suits are thankfully corralled rather quickly by my team and taken out. But they totally forget to follow after that freaking defender, so they leave them both unhandled. To be entirely frank, there's a lot of nerfs that need to happen in this game, but I don't think they'll ever happen. So it's rather miraculous that we survived these double Axis drop, but that is the power of resistance and defense. It isn't, so it's not to say by my brief negativity that there isn't a strategy to beat the whales. It's just a very difficult one to pull off. Unfortunately, tenacity is a much more difficult strategy than instant gratification. Unfortunately, that Evil Punisher failed there, and we have to still deal with this bloke But we managed to get close to full health before the end of this. But this defender, as usual, spends a lot of time bouncing our attacks and making it difficult for us to really even get through that barrier. But we manage it and pull through a second win somehow. So thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe if this is in any way helpful.